All right, thanks for coming in, Ed. You put us over the top here. Good morning, everybody. I guess we'll get started and we'll look at the June minutes. Any corrections? Grace gave us one on the name under community garden already, but anybody else have any other corrections or fixes? Can you hear us, George?
Yeah, I had you muted so you didn't have to hear all my noise, but I hear you.
All right.
Morning,
Do
George.
you have any
Hi, George.
fixes
Good morning.
to the minutes, sir?
No changes on my part.
All right, so with the one edit, does somebody make a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the minute.
Second,
Second.
Grace. All right, all those in favor? Unanimous. All right, next up, let's see here. New member applications, I asked the other day. And they hadn't received any in the town, so.
Johnny, there's some, we're missing a town person for a couple of meetings now. Is there anything you can do to
Yep.
expedite that?
I can definitely.
Thank you. Because, it's difficult to get a quorum if we don't have full representation.
It wouldn't hurt to have one, full board.
Mhm.
And that, I was thinking about this. Everybody in the village is part of the town, so, but then a village resident could really be appointed to the town too, right? If we,
Yeah, I think I remember reading in your bylaws, that you have to have, oh, no.
4 from the town,
Yeah,
and 1 non-resident.
but it could be, anyone in the
Yeah,
village.
Yeah, I would think so. For the most part, we've had
Makes
trouble
sense.
getting village residents,
Good.
which now we won't have a problem. Now we're having a problem getting town residents.
Yeah, I'll bring it up at next Thursday's meeting, next Thursday,
But it's a matter of just doing that.
Yeah, that'll be the first. right?
yeah,
Johnny, it's a matter of somebody, all the board members doing the outreach, because Mike certainly knows a lot of people, these people.
Yeah.
It's like, shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I'll do that.
The start time, that Grace said, could be an issue, I understand.
sure thing. So, yeah, I will
Thanks.
see what I can do to get more folks.
Do they have to be homeowners or can they be renters?
No, you just have to be a resident.
Residents,
It
just
says
a resident, okay.
All right, so that takes care of rail trail. Anybody have any?
Well, just a reminder, and I will send it to the whole group that, the ribbon cutting is on Friday.
They're gonna be
It's in Accord.
at the town hall there or whatever.
It's like I don't actually know the location. It's 50 Scenic Road. It's actually, it's across from Saunderskill Farms, I think you turn like you're going to Accord, their little commercial.
It's by the
strip.
highway department there too, yeah. I think that's where they're.
So you don't actually then go into Accord, it's before.
Well, I do think you drive in, looking at the map, I think you would turn right there at that light,
Right.
drive into Accord, and then you're turning right again on Ulster County Road 27,
Probably the first.
That's Granite Road.
Granite Road.
It's also, yeah.
Okay, thanks, George.
Okay.
And then you kind of get over there by the creek and,
Isn't the town highway department there for Rochester, George?
Yes, yep. It's the highway department and the town hall and the town park is right there too, so.
Oh, it says the address of the highway department.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Our mayor, Evan Trent, will be giving remarks, I heard.
I almost stopped by to see if you wanted to come today, but it was a little bit too early.
All right. And
We should invite him as a guest star one month.
I guess.
I ran into George Hood, Grace, and I mentioned,
Around to the.
yeah, cleaning up and
Okay.
stuff, but I know that, well, Perry, luckily till Perry walks back in, we'll ask him about the tree that's down.
Over by Port Bend.
I need to
Yeah.
go see if that's still down. I told my friend who used to work at the prison about it, and he was like, oh yeah, just tell him when it's down. and I'll
It
clean
was there yesterday.
It was, okay, so he didn't get it.
But that's the prison one. There's one further by the new bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that
A
one.
big one. There's actually maybe a couple are down over there.
So we take care of that then, right? Or
That's
do we have
Well, that's the
somebody
real,
in town?
the real
Town.
stewards, no? Because I thought they would have permission to cut.
Yeah,
If
it's
they
like
want to,
chainsaw
yeah,
person.
either the
Mm.
highway department would do it or our volunteers will do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was brought up at, last Thursday's board meeting about this, and so I was asked to come to the rail trail stewards to ask for help getting that done.
Okay,
So if we could get, Hank or whoever else has, do we only have one person that has the license or the permit or?
George can answer if he does for chainsaw.
You should have one person, minimum, the group that has first aid and CPR certification. It doesn't have to be the Sawyer. And then the Sawyer, I thought we were looking into, what types of, certifications would be all right. We decided the Federal Park Service certification. There's another national standard called Game of Logging. But I don't remember discussing any other type of courses that, would meet the requirement to run the saw.
Do you think if when Hank handed his in, did he turn his certification in? By chance?
Yeah, I don't know if he has it. I mean, we both have the same certifications through work for chainsaw operation.
Hank, who's on this committee, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so Hank and George, John, you're the only two, I think, that have that certification. So
Got it,
if there's gonna be help, it's gonna be from them.
got it. Is there, perhaps a time that we could schedule to take a look at it based on your schedule, George, or?
Yeah, we could, I'm out of town for a few more days, but, and then my work schedule is, I'm primarily off right now Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, which does get mixed up a little bit here in August. My boss goes on vacation, but, I could probably find time either next Thursday or Friday to go, I mean, I could probably get there before then to just take a look at it.
Okay.
You know,
So if you could get there before then to take a look at it and then maybe let us know, like, hey, you think it's gonna take 4 folks or how much additional help? And then I can help with your help as well, Grace.
so I just want to be clear, we're talking about the tree that was just being discussed before, that's not too far off from the prison property?
No, actually,
Well,
No,
that's one of them.
yeah.
It's-
and that one's still there.
It's still there.
Okay,
yeah, so there are 3 to my understanding. I haven't seen
Okay.
3 of them myself, George, but there's the one by the prison property. And then there are 2 down, according to someone from the community, by the new bridge that was put in Fort Bend.
Okay, all right.
So we were well, Terry looked in and then went back out, but we were gonna ask them. But you're saying someone take care of it by the prison?
I mean, that's what I was told, but if the tree's still down, so probably just need to figure out who to contact. I feel like we should really get a contact with the prison. and
If
then
George
just
Bud was concerned about doing anything there,
Yeah.
even cleaning up,
Yeah.
I don't think he would operate a chainsaw,
Yeah.
but, I asked him about the split rails.
All right.
All the broken split rails that are on,
Oh, yeah.
so that's where he was concerned, He's like, hey, I don't know. So Terry might have to bridge that gap with, whoever's in charge over there.
Okay.
To make sure they know that.
You were gonna,
You know.
you were gonna touch base with Terry about having him contact. the
Yeah,
prison.
I'll talk to Terry.
Yeah, hopefully he'll wander back in here before the meeting.
He said he would.
Yeah, he was just like that.
I do have one other rail trail,
Yeah.
item.
We got 30 minutes.
Right.
Set aside, so.
So the town board is considering adding, language to our local law that would prohibit the use of motorized, motor-driven vehicles or motorized equipment other than the use of, mechanized or motor-driven wheelchairs or other similar personal conveyance devices for those who are physically impaired. So, the topic of conversation at, board meeting where we were discussing the language was there may be some individuals who use electric bikes as a means of still exercising, but maybe with, bad knees or something like that, may need to use that. So if they can show an impairment, then, they can use an electric bike on the trail. But it prohibits specifically automobiles, trucks, tractors, ATVs, motorbikes, dirt bikes, all that kind of stuff. So I'll give you a copy of what the law is. At Thursday, August 1st, we will share that we are considering new language and then schedule a public hearing because it's changing local law. We need to get 30 days prior to a public hearing, so it won't be until our September 5th board meeting that the public hearing will happen. And then on the 19th, we will then state that the law is going into effect, and then it will go into effect on October 3rd.
All right, so then my follow-up, Johnny, is that's terrific, but we need a sign that's gonna say this is prohibited, like
Yeah.
they do in Johansson, they have this yellow sign hangs it.
Yeah, so we talked about signage as well, because that was one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest topics of conversation was, okay, great, that's a law, but who's enforcing it? And it's a little difficult to enforce, so we talked about signage. There's also very clearly areas where ATVs are entering and exiting. So we talked about, if that is town land, do we do something about that? What that do something was, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say we're gonna put up a fence, but I wouldn't say we're not gonna try to deter somehow.
Yeah, I was looking at that, I was wondering, there are those cement blocks in some places, like if you put it there, so they can't actually get on, but then are they just gonna create a new path?
Yes.
Which maybe is worse, so.
Yeah, logs, laying down logs.
Yeah, they could put logs down. I mean, they could move a log, but.
Yeah, well, no, for that.
We'll take those trees. No.
Yeah, exactly.
There are signs at each end right now, at least one at the sewer plant says no motor vehicles.
Is there?
Yes,
I've
and
never
I
noticed
just.
it.
I
It's a
saw
brown
one.
one.
And then there is one near the Bennett, we'll call it Bennett House,
Mhm.
where it comes, one driveway that comes down.
If we could just replace the wooden bollards with metal ones. I know that OSI was looking at that.
Just very,
But those exist, and I wonder if. I mean, I can ask if I'm able to on Friday, we can see, because I know Annie had walked it with. Hank and a few other people and talked about that.
Do you think it would help? Because right now it's just so open, it's kind of like
Yeah,
a
it's
little
so
paper highway,
Yeah, it's like very inviting.
Yeah.
We're talking about the local law that we're gonna put to public hearing here for the rail trail about the non-motorized vehicles. And we talked about, signage or other ways to prevent them from getting onto the trail. So the metal bollards is a good idea.
Yeah.
if you look on the side of the Hunt Memorial Building, they have some bollards there, I think they're yellow, something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
really visible. And you can get them where they can have a key and hinge down so
Yeah.
that trucks know when we need to do maintenance.
Sure.
So,
For emergency vehicles, I think
Right.
that's the biggest concern, right?
Yeah. We had a question about trees down on the prison property on the trail. Would you happen to know who we can contact?
Eastern specifically?
Yeah, I guess there's a tree down near the Bennett house. And since it's prison property, we don't want to just go in and cut the tree down. We figured we should probably talk to them.
If we go past the Bennett house, that's when they actually go a little bit of a ways and put it on Eastern property.
Okay,
Bennett property is not Eastern property. And I can't say it probably, I'm gonna guess, so here, like, that, Liberty Street over there, it's probably the distance between Bennett property and Eastern property.
okay.
And prior to that, obviously.
I think it's on the prison property though, so.
Yeah,
And where are the,
going from Bennett House, when you first hit the
kind of
fence.
road?
Yeah, it goes to the left, well, you know where you-
To the left a little bit, because.
Well, once you get to the split rail fence, it's only like 100 feet up.
Yeah.
It's laying across the trail. It's been there
And you think it's on each side state line?
well,
I think it's the prison property. We're pretty sure it's prison property.
where the split rail fence is, there, it's everything over to the creek.
We could have our highway department look at, call it superintendent, when really. I'll talk to him, I just talked to him yesterday. About these things. And, they have a route, they call it roundsman, that does rounds. That's an officer, to make sure the property is secure.
Okay,
And, what the other people will have to do is advise the prison, they will advise their staff that well, we allow to come in that specific time to.
cut it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think the volunteer, there's trail stewards would go there, but they are uncomfortable going there
Yeah.
without,
Well, that's, that's a very good point to bring up, because actually, we have to talk to the person, I mean, they've given us an easement, which believe it or not, took a long time. It took 2 or 3 years. There's gotta be protocol, they allow us, they allowed the easement to begin with, and then next step is go there, I guess it makes sense.
okay,
The signage.
yeah.
How far is that from the train station? Not that far.
Yeah.
Kind of right in front of it, right? Same
No, it's
tree.
further up. a little further.
Is it?
Is it south?
Yeah, it's towards the, coming
I
down
think
here.
it's south
yeah.
of Tools.
So when you're going towards Kingston, it's only like 100 feet from where from where
And how
the
much
split rail fence starts. Right, roughly, I don't know, like.
branches?
No, just one,
It's like one
really just the
big
main
block.
trunk that fell over, yeah. And then the other thing, Terry, while we're on the subject, there's a lot of split rails that are broken. So maybe you can talk to them about that, and maybe George Buds, alternative sentencing crew could replace them, because I think Hank said there's split rails at the town highway department.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a few, there's probably a dozen broken split rails at least along that section. But the grass doesn't really get cut underneath it. You were there last night or no? Or yesterday
Yeah,
or
that's great,
something?
but I haven't been going past that log, so.
Yeah, but they aren't cutting the grass under the fence or anything, or no. Did the trail even get in the, like, no grass is getting cut on the
The trail
trail
is
anymore, yeah. So I don't know if Tony can run down there once a month or something too, Terry, cutting the grass. It's pretty good, I think, for now, because it's got the new surface, but
That
On the
section doesn't
edges.
have the new surface.
yeah, further up, right, yeah,
Yeah.
once you get to that, what we'll call the Bennett house, yeah. So I don't know, I mean, we imagine the prison would cut maybe the rail trail on there by them.
In terms of the
You know,
easements,
Yeah, I'll talk to Bill Kyer about that. And
yeah.
we'll have to-
But I mean, yeah, it'd be nice for the highway department to go up once in a blue, cut the grass on the edges.
Yeah, definitely, especially since they're connecting it so much, like. Then we have these connectors, but people are afraid of ticks, I think, I've had a couple people say.
Yeah, I know it's getting the grass is getting pretty high when I walk by it, especially at the prison where they didn't resurface it.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see that get cut once in a while.
I have another question. Coffee has that money to pay for the signage. Yeah, like Canal. I know there was talk of potentially Corecraft doing the sign
For signage for where.
for the rail trail. I just was wondering how, because we have the money to pay for it, so I'm wondering who I can contact.
It's like a
that
directional
into
sign,
work.
right, Grace?
Yeah,
From,
I mean, the sign was in work before I was involved, but I just, I got all that money from work. That
yeah,
I was like, oh, let's
No.
use that money for the sign, pay for it.
Okay, so with how much money?
Is there a plan for the sign though? Do we know? Like, do we know what? Did
Hank
anyone
was
do a
looking
mock-up?
Hank was gonna do mock-ups, I think he
Okay.
might not have done them yet, or he.
Okay,
I know his sign person in Kingston was like not being responsive.
okay,
I don't know if he has the mock-ups, but he has the ability to do the mock-ups, because he has the old template, he has other templates.
Where are they gonna go? Because we have the kiosks, right?
They're supposed to be like vehicular, like, I don't know what it's called, the type of signage that's viewable by vehicular traffic going by on canal. Just to alert people that there is a rail trail back there.
I'll give an example of what.
it's at Edwards, right? That's where we're
Yeah.
talking.
behind that sign.
Edwards is, down by Tony's garage.
Yeah,
That's-
Out, out where-
There's a kiosk there.
Yeah, it would
I
be
think
somewhere
is
there.
there right now a sign there that
Yeah.
says, more like a yellow or orange sign that says,
There's some.
There's one, as you start down Edwards Place, a very small one that says O and W. But I think the idea with this sign was really to try to broadcast like rail trail, maybe with an arrow, like really let it like much more local.
Really highlight it.
Yeah, because to your point, it just says O and W, and
Yeah.
if you're not local and
Yeah.
know what O and W
Yeah,
means.
but that's actually on Edwards, it's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not,
really-
it's not visible. If you're just driving on Canal, you wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
And the kiosk, I mean, OSI is eventually gonna put something on it, but it's been empty. And it's not totally clear that the kiosk is directing anybody further, especially because actually there's really pretty wildflowers there.
Mhm.
So I think if you didn't know, you would think maybe the kiosk is just sort of talking about the wildflowers.
I think I'm probably gonna see Annie Bergeron tomorrow in Accord.
Yeah, the,
Yeah,
Ceremony,
yeah, ceremony,
tomorrow,
yeah.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
11 or 10?
Well,
11, okay.
But,
cool to say it'll be done.
so a few months ago, we had talked about the Portcraft doing this sign.
Or I guess the Kingston person.
We're getting a bid from them.
Yeah, but I just don't know. I'll talk to Hank and see if there's a mock-up and how we go about.
To
getting
get
it out.
whatever you have, well, you have to have the exact information that I can send it over to Fort Drive.
Okay,
It's at Eastern,
okay.
and sometimes it's gotta be approved by all, I mean, but
Mhm.
the turnaround time's pretty good, and it's a good price. The quality is pretty good, and then we'll take a look at it, and before you make a decision, we'll have a proof of what they're gonna make.
Yeah, okay.
We can do it better with other companies. Howie Slotnick also, Howie Slotnick's a guy, you know? Italy or up that way there. He's really cool. He's fairly local, he's the guy that does it with Litman Parks. Entering kind of Washington sign.
What was it, Howie Slotnick?
Slot.
Okay,
With the range
But
recently,
he'd be more expensive than Courtcraft, I would think, no?
Well, he's got a pretty good, he's done all right with us, but I can see the difference with the important, importance of the quality and quality.
yeah,
Yeah, because it'd be cool if it was dialed like that.
yeah. I mean, we have,
I mean, we have the whole wayfinding sign plan that went through for colors and fonts and sizes and everything, so.
yeah, I think Hank would use that.
That's what Hank was right.
Yeah. yeah, we have like 600-ish, potentially more dollars.
Plus, I
to
think,
spend on it.
yeah, Grace earmarked was $600 or so. But I think even if, if there was a great sign or two signs that you could see from either direction and it was $750 or something, I think we could ask Coffee.
Yeah, they would probably,
If we wanted to, I don't know how the vote would go, but
Yeah.
it's worth asking.
well, it was $1,000 and some of the money was 400 was earmarked for a movie, but I don't know, I don't know if it's happening or not, so I haven't heard anything about movies in a while, so we could always just pull it and use all the money for the signs. I think everyone would be fine with that.
With the thunderstorms and all, how's the washout area looking? Is it still okay or did,
Okay. I was
did it get washed out some more?
last
Yeah.
week and it was fine, but then I know there was. some
Over a
rain.
week.
Yeah, it's been okay.
Yeah,
up until last week. Yeah,
Ever since the 5K did that, or the highway department did that extra work, and I don't know exactly who did it, but it's been better. I mean, it's washed out,
yeah,
and it's still tricky footing, but it's not as bad as it was after that really big
Right.
washout.
I was just wondering if that happened.
Not
no,
as bad,
no,
but we haven't, I don't think we've had a flash
be this
flooding
fall.
that big.
There was
Yeah.
a ton of rain last night,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so maybe,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll go walk it today.
I mean, on Saturday was in a deluge, but I don't know if it happened here, That's a weird
I'll
car.
probably be down there next Wednesday anyways, so.
I hope no trees fell on the trail. I heard trees fell at Napanock as a result of last night's. Yeah.
I'll walk the trail today and write back to the group if there's anything noticeable or of note.
Especially if there's trees down there. I'll have some more.
I moved a tree the other week. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Very impressive. Yeah.
All right, I guess that's pretty much it for the rail trail. I think. How about the village section?
our extension. Yeah, I really don't know what's happening there. I know Elliot has been a little more involved in that and trying to forward it. You know, I think a year ago or so, here in this group, we discussed the fact that the cost of the project seemed to be $750,000, and it seems like the village has just realized that too. So I don't really know what, I don't know what the status is right now.
Well, Elliot said at the last meeting that, he wasn't concerned about meeting that price. He said he has outside sources he's talking to, remember?
Yeah,
So-
I think I just need to sort of ask.
He's pretty.
Yeah, he apologized, he couldn't be here today,
Yeah,
so.
that's understandable. Hopefully they'll come through, those outside sources.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, isn't that, George, you might know this, I think Hank mentioned, if you don't complete the project, you have to give the money back.
Yes.
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 that's true. So,
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen. Now the village is involved there in the future.
yeah,
All right,
so I'll ask him if there's any update.
let's move on to the Burn Road Park project, well, that's probably a big
The
discussion.
village made approved the bid, right, Monday night. And we sent over here, we sent it to Dennis Larios is preparing the wording of the contract of Roars. ROEHR.
Yeah, they're in Clintondale.
Very good company from what Dennis is saying. So. Then, it's good to have ideas from here. One of the questions you're ready to go around with application, like I said, about fencing. But we have to look at what posts were in the fencing, in the porch, they're outside, presently, they're outside the porch. Well, in the ground. And so the post is like, thinking that class. But when I asked them, I said, yes, all those things would be addressed. And the people, everybody should be concerned about whether the port is damaged by accident or on purpose. And that's not under the contract rules, it's responsible. As far as like, putting measures out there, whatever it is.
Prevent folks from going on it while it's drowning or whatever.
In whatever fashion, I think it's, two people on the board, it's really accurate for them to do. So we're gonna sit down meeting the village, the town, the engineer and the contractor. The contractor's gotta get their insurance and bonding and all that stuff together, so and then it's gonna be a process, and then Dennis didn't say this is absolute fact, but it's like, well, the ports are probably gonna be non-usable for about 2 or 3 months. So that's something. that-
When was the start date?
No, they don't have one.
Okay.
Because they have to, they just have to complete the awarding.
Right.
Because the village is that in March. Now it goes to the awarding of it, they work and then it goes to them get their bond and insurance, and then when they do it, they do it. We're trying to get them to do it. Early fall.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to really be done this year, right, because we're gonna run out of time based on the.
Yeah, it's gotta be done by, I don't know, it's August of next year, I'm not sure what the deadline was, but timelines, they shouldn't start in December, and it's 3 weeks, and that's not.
I thought it was like
We're
the
trying to get them to
18
go.
month, right?
I can get them started.
Yeah, it's not, it wasn't a 2-year thing, so
No.
18 months, so I think it has to be done this fall. For the county unless you can get an extension for November.
Yeah, we'll look at the exact one.
Yeah.
But it has to be completed or shovel ready? I don't know.
I thought completed.
Completed.
I thought, I don't know, well, you'll confirm what it says, yeah. Obviously, it's an opportunity you want to miss out on. So anything else about Burn Road Park at this point?
We did have so, at every village board meeting, I give a little update if there's been anything here in the commission. And so when I was giving it, this past week, the village trustees were asking about Mark Bluzak and the donation of playground equipment and the status. And I sent a message to folks, following up on that.
So I think that first of all, thank you, because you were taking some heat from the trustees that I think was a little unjust. And it started because one of the trustees had heard that Mark already donated it to the Safeway or something, or
Yeah, or like some organization, yeah, say, I don't know.
Oh,
what it's called.
Gateway, I don't know.
Or Gateway, yeah.
Gateway Fountain, New Falls.
yeah, perhaps. So I wasn't sure. Did you ever get a chance to talk with him about it? Mark, yeah, the guy who wanted to donate equipment.
Responded, I think, to the email saying that we should, what is it exactly, I read a thread of different emails, but I didn't see any of the language, so I looked at them to, we actually, wanted to donate.
Yeah, I think so.
And you had mentioned something, where would it be appropriate at, Park or Mill Street, right?
Well, so Mike Jenner and I measured Burnrow Park and sent him the diagrams that also was sent to this group. And then back in April, I think, I was asked to pass his name on to you and Bill, and I think I looped in Elliot and
The one with the actual piece of equipment. Any piece of equipment or multiple.
so he had a few options that he was looking at, and in that email chain, I think right after I had written connecting him with everybody in April, he had written back just asking to actually meet in person and discuss it.
So we should do that, and one of the areas that is probably a good part of the Vermont Park might be the toddler section. Because so far, the wooden structure was taken down and two pieces were put in there, and then four auxiliary pieces. And then to the right of that, there's a toddler section. That may be a good spot for it, depending on the size of what you're doing.
So-
Yeah, and I think he was
This is
particularly.
For adult, teenagers, right?
Yeah, he was interested in like older children. His children, I think he's had said were, teenagers, and so he felt like he wanted to donate something. I know that he was really intrigued by like the exercise equipment, the different bars in different areas and things like that, where there's kind of like a wrap
Fitness circuit.
fitness circuit that you can make.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So who's the contact person with Mark? I know you had talked to him, but I don't know now who was.
Back in April, I was asked to pass him to
Right.
Terry and
So
Bill.
that's what I'm wondering, who the contact person
Yeah,
is.
so I'll talk to Bill today and find out.
Okay. Be great to set up a meeting, right, Terry? Set up a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
In that email that I forwarded on Monday, Terry, that I included the original one that has all the context of that. So that should give you most everything. And if that doesn't, I'll look back, that doesn't have the links to a few specific pieces he was considering, I'll send that over to you and Bill.
So we'll just call him up and
Yeah,
have a meeting next week.
It did sound like that the village trustees, that he may have made a different donation, so I think just being aware of that. I'm not sure if the offer is still on the table. Oh, they were just, all the village trustees, I think, were concerned that we may have missed out on a chance to get more playground. So they were just kind of asking what happened. It wasn't too bad, but I appreciate it.
I don't know. I felt offensive for you, so.
I could take
Yeah, you can take it, right?
It was fun.
It was pending.
There are, I think even still, that's a good question. I should follow up with Mike Jeter and just see if there are a few remaining little pieces that he still hasn't put in. I'll ask him.
He said it would be good. Okay.
How about the dog park? Anything?
Well, so I want to ask the group for some help with this, because I feel a little bit like confused about what exactly I should do next. So I think some advice or some help will be good. So we did the site visits. We went to the space next to Bob Mangles to the left there, and then we went to the airport road space. And I have been working with Elliot to try to just get insight into the pile of rocks at Bob Mangles. And he actually, I think, has found someone at DEC he's at least he thinks he can get an answer from, like, just making the idea, Terry, just to bring you up to speed, is like, the question that we just want to answer as part of the due diligence is like, is there any reason those rocks are there?
I was talking about Johnny Pace, I can't respond specifically, because I'm, but he's saying I can't do it. I'll find out.
Can't do anything with it?
Yeah, it'd be great to know what he's talking about, because Elliot is talking to these DEC people that seem to, and he seems to think that we could, they are not serving a flood control function, but we want to get, I've been just really wanting to make sure we get a real answer on that with details, before we, do anything else. So that's just taking a little while, but then, beyond that, when I presented to the town, the council asked me to, come, like, basically present what the project plan would be and cost it out. And so, to me, that would be a next step. I haven't wanted to do it while we're waiting on this rocks question, just because if it's a hard no,
When you
then,
bring up the bed, town board has talked about it since your visit with us. Not in the neighborhood, nursery school, rescue school at conflicts, the town owns it, is there a better use for that property? And maintenance of it, would have to end up having to do that, so. It's the ability of the board that doesn't want it.
But it's not the part of the property, piece adjacent, right?
In that area, it's in the neighborhood,
But Elena has been talking to the people over there,
it's in the neighborhood, and I'm not gonna vote for it, that's what I'm.
so that means then the town needs to
The
be.
town owns the property.
I understand, so, for dog park, there can't be a Berg Road, because that's where the children, older children's equipment's gonna be, so that leaves the airport road.
Airport or wherever else, Mill Street or wherever
Well,
else.
Coffee isn't gonna provide the money for the dog park at the airport, that means it's up to the
That's
town,
fine,
that means it's up to the town, if the town wants it to do it over there.
the town's not gonna do it at the property.
I know, that means the property is at the airport road waiting to be done.
Which may be even the dog park at the airport. I've gone down there a number of times and
Right.
I have to, that's the airport, but people want to go.
Right.
The actual cost, the board also discussed. What investment would we have to put in? Not as much as we put.
Well,
so
Coffee
you have a
was gonna
sense
be.
of the cost, because that was gonna be my next question, just like, how much do we have a sense of, because for me, doing the due diligence, I was gonna come up with costs for both sites, just to present to the board. And I was unclear just of like, when we did the site visit, it looked like there was some areas that were very wet. And so like, I think there's sort of a site question of wetness and water at the airport. There did seem to be like some areas that were pretty dry. So do you have a sense of like what that project, it sounds like you do have a sense of the
I was
cost?
talking to the airport engineer.
Yeah,
So it's not missing. He's dealing with the FAA because that's not inside of the perimeter of the airport. It's down probably, don't quote me, but it's like 9 acres. It goes from parking lot after you come back out of Chaparral. And just before you get to the airport building, then it's kind of all the way down to River Street, I think, on an angle.
Yeah, I think I have a picture of it here.
We've got picnic tables in a couple different places over there, so we could put some picnic tables and people can walk on the road. Outside of that neighborhood.
Oh, you're looking more at further down towards River Street than
Well, that's.
where it comes out from the hospital.
Not stuff we had, like, next meeting or at some point we can, nothing.
So I got here, the plot you're talking about.
What is the main reason to not do it adjacent to Bob Maples? Is it just the nursery school or
the nursery school is actually in support.
they are in support of it?
Rescue squad,
Okay,
The rescue squad is also in support.
there's a chance of people getting hurt.
inside of a fenced area?
People gotta get out of their cars, and the rescue squad, where it's an emergency situations, they come buzzing out of there, and who knows what's gonna happen.
Their bays are on the other side.
As opposed to people
They don't-
in the neighborhood?
I'm confused about that because the bays are on the,
Actually, it's just the
Western-
overall idea of not wanting. That's when people code that says, I don't want it there.
Okay,
Number two, it's in a neighborhood. Why not put it in a space where people can go, where there isn't any conflicts? You know, you have to lessen your conflicts.
mhm. I think we should do a little more outreach with people in the neighborhood, really. Trying to find, you know,
I think that's what my question is for the group.
The town board still has to make a decision.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the end goal is to have a dog
Yeah.
park, not to be belligerent about any location.
Yeah, we're not trying to force it anywhere.
Yeah, so, you know, I haven't done outreach because also I didn't want to get it going when we still have the outstanding question of the rocks.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want, you know.
Yeah. I think like a good order of operations, sounds like Rock's question has to come first. At the same time, I think that, you know, understanding what costs might look like at the airport
Mhm.
could probably happen in parallel there.
Terry, do you have, it sounded like you said it sounded like you have an understanding of the cost there to do an airport site.
I have a very strong idea that it's less money than what it is on that. And it's, you said it's not gonna, it's there. And using Bob Angles for it might be that, I can't even come up with a number of how, if the town board decided to do something other than what is being done there now. If we had, you know, solar, we're going to sell property, we would sell the property for a business. It would
Can you
still.
sell it in floodplain though?
Flood
I think
control
it's a
zone?
flood control zone. You sold.
It depends, yeah, flood controls, there's, I was just yesterday talking to a gentleman that lives on River Street. And this is off, not totally off topic, but when you're talking about flood zone, floodway, is that the difference between floodway and flood zone?
Do I know? I mean, oh, no, I have no idea.
Yes, a floodway is something that not people.
Yeah.
Nothing. Floodplain, you have to have, you know, proper height requirements, or whatever. This particular house, it was right on River Street, and, you know, the FEMA numbers were like 293 feet of it, so I think his property is 297 feet. And the actual, I think the property is from next to 800s, so he's looking to do something partial and big help. I shouldn't discuss it, but the issue is that whole area that property that's the open 29 acres between say River Street and the hospital, off of 209, that whole area down there. I mean, that probably is to look at for businesses, for housing, just over about 2 or 3 years. And, you know,
It would be wonderful if we did something with a park there. I mean, that's
some
like,
of that
the
stuff is
space is
floodway.
glorious.
Yeah.
You know, walking
You're talking about
paths.
Bob
The
Yeah.
section next to Bob Mangle is such a
I
beautiful
mean, people use
space.
it for fishing,
People
people
fish,
run,
people
eat
walk,
nice food,
yeah.
more food. I think no matter what, we should try to
Look at the
figure out
rocks.
the rock situation is ugly.
Yeah, because
so-
either way, the
Yeah.
rocks, if
I'll
we,
follow up with Mr. Hayes, because he told me something specific, but
who was
Yeah.
that?
Tony Pace, highway
I
superintendent.
he knew the answer to it, but I can't. I'm not.
I mean, that's putting Mill Street in the neighborhood, that's gotta be out.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, if we think back to all the research I did in that presentation, Mill Street, parking is a little bit of a question there. And, yeah, I mean, listen, if the town wants to do a dog park by the airport, again, like our end goal is a dog park. I do think it's outside of Ellenville and it's not walkable, which is a loss. And I know that that's kind of a, deal breaker for coffee, so I don't think we'll get the fundraising support. But, you know, I want to make sure we make these public spaces available to people. So for me, let's do the thing that happens.
Yeah, something is better than nothing.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I really appreciated about Katie, the owner of the nursery school, because she was really excited about this idea of putting it next to Bob Mingles. And what she really helped me see was like, we're sitting on 8 acres or so there of, you know, sort of raw, unused
Yeah.
park space that we could do something with. So I would hope that if we decided the dog park is not the right thing for that location, that we could then do something else creative for,
It's so pretty down there.
it's so
Just
pretty.
a nice piece of land.
Yeah, I think
It'd be a
I
shame
think
to
it's a
sell
good
it.
thing to bring more people from the community to that kind of public space.
Yeah. and it's just so walkable, which is great.
Yeah,
My hometown did this really cool thing with like a kind of space very similar that was also used as a floodplain. And they did like a meadow walk through it basically. So it was like one simple trail that was maintained through it.
yeah.
It was like, I think exactly a mile loop. Folks used it a ton and then you just didn't go. It was super rainy because it was mucky, you know,
Yeah.
but it was at least usable when it wasn't.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay.
All right, so I look forward to getting those questions answered. Community garden, anything further?
No, I haven't talked to Noelle. I sent her an email, but I didn't hear back, so I need to follow up with her.
Probably some for
She's on
next year.
Is she on
vacation.
vacation?
Yeah.
Okay. I just know that finding a spot with water is gonna be the hardest thing, and then like, use for water.
Oh, water source.
Yeah. So I need to get with her, and
Can't always count on rain, can we, Mother Nature?
so I need to figure out what she's thinking.
She'd been talking to the village, and Elliot said the village was okay with Mill Street.
Yeah.
They are, okay. I
Nice
haven't talked to her.
thought to that, I mean.
It would be great.
with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is like a hand pump there.
That could work.
And
Like an old well.
Like an old- yeah,
Does
like an
it
old
work?
dog well. No,
Oh.
but I think it's like missing parts doesn't work,
So
not
maybe
like
the-
Oh.
dry
okay.
well doesn't work.
I'm
You know what
think
she's
about
at?
it.
I think she's back next week.
Okay. I will follow up with her.
Do you have her cell phone number? She's good at texting.
Okay, yeah, I think I do have her number. I'll text her.
All right, any old business that we over?
I want,
Go ahead. Ed.
I was just gonna say, there's a draft survey quote request for Lippin Park on the Google Drive. Underneath Lippin Park 2024 survey. Folks wanna take a look at it and review before submitting.
Just breaking it down into X number of pieces.
Yep,
Changing it to 2.
taking it from 5 to 2.
What's 5?
I mean, that's really Terry, whether the board's gonna.
I mean, that's why I put the draft
Yeah.
together. It's not it's not out for bid. It's just sitting on the drive right now for review before it goes out. To see if the town board
We
is
can put
fine.
it on our agenda for a workshop at the first. Right.
They'll probably be budgeted for next year, right? I mean, how much is that, how much were those surveys roughly before?
18 to 20, more in there.
18 to 20 grand, right? So you're talking probably 25 grand now, maybe. So it's something that the town would want to budget for.
And what's the benefit of moving it from the 5 to the 2?
Well, right now, there's quote unquote, landfill or transfer station use on parks, defined property, as far as the tax parcels go. As well as we have a history of trails being built onto private property.
Right.
And a history of encroachments and that kind of thing. So having a defined property line on a modern survey, there's a mismatch of a bunch of, we have surveys of most of the parcels. But some of them are from the 70s, some from the 90s, some have been adjusted since that survey's been done. There's 5 parcels total. There's 4 parcels
Is that
and 1.
60 acre total or just?
Are they in the proposal there, Ed, like you would say?
All the parcels are in the proposal. The acreage is not included in the acreage, but the acreage is on the maps I've shared last year.
is it cheaper to go from 5 to 2 in terms of doing the surveys?
Benefit and with
Well, instead of having all the internal lines surveyed, monumented and everything, keeping them separate parcels, you're having one solid park. And you're having the transfer station separate, so that the uses can be defined.
And I think too, you know, given the heat we've been taking about the other Ulster County, resource landfill, helping people understand that we're eliminating use of landfill from Lippin Park today is probably a good thing.
Good point.
Well, yeah, if anybody's been to the transfer station, there's an old dump there that's maintained or. Second yearly.
You know, just where the solar panels are parked, right?
Yeah, it's a cap landfill, so we'll be able to put solar on it, and have about 3,500 gallons on there, so. electric.
Yeah, it's good use.
I had one other old business. The other thing the village trustees were asking about on Monday was, kind of like a plan. Like, what is the Parks and Recreation Commission, proposing or planning? And I think they were looking for some guidance and leadership from this commission. And I was looking at the bylaws and seeing that, like, in our bylaws, we are supposed to submit, recommendations for budget use for parks and recreation in the village and town. And that goes into the budgeting process, at least the bylaws say in September. So I told the board that I would come back, and ask, because I think it's a great point, like, do we want to do something a little more strategic where we're kind of looking at all of our spaces and painting a little bit of a picture for what the future could be and what some medium term in the next year projects could be that would enhance these spaces, like even this idea of the thing that's similar to your hometown park, of a walking path here or there, or funding for this community garden, like, if we don't get in on those budgeting processes, then, are we? How
It's
do
not
we?
just projects, I think, that's in the law or whatever, or bylaws. It's also supposed to include like programs and all too.
Yeah, so I wondered if we wanted to,
Well, I
if,
think Hank's been wanting to do that for a few years now.
It's great. I think, yeah, I mean, one of the beautiful things about a commission is that you have certain powers to make recommendations that other committees don't necessarily have. And so I think it'd be a really great idea for you to bring recommendations. I think, we start our budgeting process here in the next month or two. So for us to have those considerations from you all about what you think, I think would be incredible.
Well, Doug had some, issues he brought up last meeting that we'll have, that I think Elena said she was gonna bring up at your budgeting workshops. So at Lippin Park, he had some.
Yeah, improving
Yeah.
pickleball courts
in the bathrooms.
and the bathroom.
I mean, one thing we could do is start just kind of like a shared doc where everybody adds some ideas between now and our next meeting. And then at our next meeting, we kind of put together, maybe the next meeting, the bulk of the agenda could be for us to workshop a list of recommendations and ideas. And then in September, we take it to the town and the village. That could be one way to just get it going. The other thing is that I need, so I have a conflict on Thursday nights, which means I often can't go to the town board meeting. And I think it would be, like, I go to the village ones 90% of the time because I don't have conflict on Mondays. But if, I feel like we don't have to go to every single one. I know every 2 weeks is a lot, but I think it would be great if somebody from the commission could have, be at the town meetings. First of all, to put this budget idea, that's what we do.
Town's never done that, so it's an idea. ECC doesn't, they don't get funding. They're not responsible for funding.
What's ECC?
Environmental, that group of.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the difference between a committee and a commission, right?
And so the town board decision whether have volunteers or put money in commission or committee to do that.
And I mean, the town and the village still control the funds. That's the reality.
You make
They do
recommendations.
control the funds, but if you're saying to have the commission add funds, that's right there, getting funds.
I do think it's good,
But if
good idea.
if the committee or commission submits something to the town board, who's responsible for spending the money? They can look at whatever it is.
Well, is this for us to get money or is it just to present kind of what our goals are for the year or upcoming, short term?
I think it was my thought of it. I don't exactly know how it's represented in the bylaws, but my thinking of it was that we would present some projects ahead of the town and village budgeting process. So that if the town and village wanted to adopt our recommendations, they could fund them,
Hmm.
essentially.
Yeah,
That's great.
and so, don't quote me here, but I think, you know, the difference between a committee and a commission. So that, you know, you go and you say, here are the things that we want to do as a commission. And do we have your support? The town board looks at it, and it might be yes to these three things, no to these two things. And because of that, here's, you know, we'll include in the budget for next year these items for you.
Mhm.
But then then you have that money to execute those things, and you probably have to regularly report back, or we'd have to have kind of a memorandum of understanding about, you know, what it is that you're accomplishing, because essentially you get the funds to manage yourself.
After approval of.
Right.
budgets. And yeah, so that does seem like what it mirrors what's in the bylaws.
So I think it'd be really interesting. So I think to answer your question, it's yes, it's both,
Okay.
right? It's first of all, a plan to show leadership, vision, excitement, and then it's also leverage the bylaws to get in on the budgeting process.
All right, so you want to start that then?
I can start the doc and then
Yeah,
if you're up for,
owner share.
yeah, and I'll send around a link to everybody and then, if we could take most of next meeting, I mean, maybe we do like timely updates, if there's anything timely that we need to review next meeting, but aside from that, we could use the hour to really workshop it and finalize what we want to present.
Yeah, because it's probably the next two meetings that
Mhm.
it's done. Yeah,
And then
they're
it's at
gonna
least
be
a start, you know?
deep into their budget.
I think generally it would be nice to have a few months of a process, like, you know, it'd be great. Next year, I could imagine us starting something in the spring with the community where we actually even have people come to a little brainstorming session and talk about what everybody in the community imagines. But we also, I think, are all pretty involved in the community, so I think we can represent the community pretty well in this initial go at it and.
Yeah, you don't have to boil the ocean right now, right?
Right.
But this is also, perhaps it sounds like a first step into the commission requesting funds or getting involved in the budgeting process. So baby steps.
Plus, I think it could be fun.
There's a lot of shared Google Sheets.
Okay, anything else? George?
I'm good, thank you. I just had to unmute myself.
Yeah, no, thanks for attending, George, because you helped us get a quorum here.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll see everybody on August 15th here.
All
And
right.
for an email from Alina, thank you.